Welcome back, everyone, to the UKEL. I'm still Daxel, still with the Sarge, and we are about to go into Resolve versus Viperio. Viperio, one of our more storied teams, having won the first inaugural split of the UKEL, and then not doing quite as well in the second split.
You had to do them. Like, come on, man! You didn't. This is the first time.
I'm hoping that they do poorly today, just because I need a win. I need a win. I am 0-3 on predictions. I predicted Resolve.
Well, while we talk about our predictions a little bit more, the other team is, of course, Resolve, one of our new teams to the roster again. They're going to be looking to make a name for themselves here, and taking down Viperio would be a good way to do it. Bans are coming out nice and quickly. Lucian taken away from Kaz. He has been a big Lucian player this season. It is his most played champion by far. Zoe taken off the table, Talia as well. So we're getting a nice mix of things.
Yeah, I like these bans, because Lucian, pretty decent at the moment, not very high priority in the meta per se, but he has been put into kind of a decent place. Varus, we saw him in the last game, didn't quite perform well enough to win, I guess, but did well. And Trundle we've seen banned previous times as well, so good to see that taken off the board.
And with it left open, Aphelios will be the first pick on the board. Resolve going for the standard marksman. We know how well he scales. We know how good he can be in team fights, but that does leave open the Graves. That's going to be picked up likely for the jungle by Johnny Rico. Set as well going into the top lane. So nothing too much out of the ordinary from what we would be expecting coming into this game. Set is a fairly safe blind pick. You know, he does a lot of damage. He is tanky. He just gives you nice, steady pressure and a good, solid front line. Nidalee would be a bit of a bolt from a blue for Resolve. That's going to be switched out to a Karma. Our third game of the evening with a Karma in it so far. It's not done. It's had mixed results, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
And now we'll see whether Resolve can pilot that to a win.
Hopefully for their sake, and for mine, they can. But this isn't the game that we kind of expected the Graves to be locked in, but Graves has been rising in priority, at least in the solo queue.
He definitely has, and gonna be honest, the champion we're expecting to be locked in was a Bard, because again, we have Bard players in this game. We're not gonna get to see it, I doubt. I don't think that's gonna be it at all, but Nidalee is someone we don't often see a lot. AP jungler, a lot of ability to poke you down from range, can really catch you in those 1v1s and burst you down. Kalista, gonna be the response on the side of Viperio, and that starts to make me think, Darksil, is this going to be a Kalista set bot lane potentially, bonding to him and throwing him in with the Fates Calling at level 6 to get him right up in your face exactly where he wants to be?
Definitely could, and it is obnoxious. You run set with Omni Stone, and pretty much you can't do anything for the entire game because he just runs you down.
Well, we'll have to see. Maokai is being banned away from Artorias in the top lane. That is one of his picks, but there's a couple of little options that we could see out from various people now. The Bard, hey, at least we got nodding. He's been banned away. We did it. The Bard has been banned away, which I'm a bit sad to see, but you know, it is what it is. I want to talk about Pillar in this mid lane for Resolve, because I was looking for his OP.gg, taking a few little notes down, and he mainly plays pretty much only AP champions, which, you know, isn't too uncommon in the mid lane. But one AD champion he does play, and he plays it very well looking at his stats, is Pantheon. Now, paired up with a Nidalee, that could be an incredibly good early game combination. It could give them a massive springboard into fighting around the river, fighting around neutral objectives, but are they going to pick it up? They know that it's likely going to be into a Corki. Is this something they fancy?
And it also allows you to, almost like the Galio, exert pressure towards that bottom side as well once you get your Grand Starfall from your level 6. So it is something that would do quite well, especially if you can get onto the set or Kalista, try and keep them behind, if it is, of course, a set support. But it will be the Kassadin instead.
We're not going to see it. We're going to go for that scaling option instead. And I do like this. but Kassadin has a huge amount of maneuverability to get on top of a Callista, get on top of a Corki, and get away from the set if needed as
Mhm.
well. But this is where we're going to have to blind pick the top laner, because we can assume it's set going top, but we're not quite certain. I want to see something tanky. I want to see something with a bit of sustain. Aatrox matches for sustain, but not necessarily the tanky front line. Oh
And it will
boy.
be the Camille top lane.
Yes, it will. This was something that I picked out of Zuki. It was a champion you don't see an awful lot of, Camille. She has a lot of nuance, a lot of interactions, and she is arguably the strongest split pusher in the game in 1v1s late on. I think, she kind of shares that mantle with Fiora, depending on who
Yeah.
you ask and where people's numbers sit right now. But she's going to easily take this Aatrox to town later on in the game. Once she gets 2-3 items under her belt, she will be an absolute menace in this side lane, and also incredibly difficult to pin down because of her grapple hooks. And like we said, we suggested it might be the case, it pushes Set down into that bot lane role.
And it also means that you need a lot of CC to try and keep the Camille down. And on the side of Resolve, you don't really have that much CC. Karma, a little bit of CC. Kassadin has a slow. Everyone else, not really.
There's not a whole lot of CC in this entire game, to be honest. I'm seeing a lot of damage.
CC in the bottom lane.
I'm seeing a hell of a lot of damage, but there is not a lot of CC on anyone here, really. I mean, you've got Callista's Fate Call, you've got the set, knock up, pullback.
Camille has her stun on her hook shot still, right?
She does. She does still have
And then
a
she has
stun
her
on
ult.
it, and the ult. But overall, this is just going to be a lot of damage. I think we're going to see a lot of skill checks across the board here, really. Definitely feels like in the top lane, Artorias and Zuki are going to be going toe-to-toe to see who can outprawl the other. In bot lane as well, once you hit level 6, you know that that's going to be explosive. So there's going to be a lot of action all throughout this game, I feel like. And I don't think we're going to be seeing any standard front to back.
No, definitely not. But I think it's worth talking about these two junglers, because they're not champions that we really see a huge amount of, especially in competitive play. The Nidalee especially, if you aren't very good at hitting your spears, then you don't really do much of anything, especially in the early game. So what are you expecting of Linkus here in this game?
Well, I'm really hoping that he can hit his spears for the start. Like, that's...
It's kind of the basic thing for a Nidalee
player. If whenever you see a Nidalee player, you do kind of take it as a given that they can hit their spears.
Usually.
I'm hoping for a lot of tracking around the map with the bushwhack traps. Is that the name of them? I can't remember. But the traps that she can put down.
What am I, a play-by-play that should know all the champion abilities?
I know. It's like I'm asking the wrong person. But no, the traps that Nidalee can put down, I'm expecting, or at least I'm hoping, good tracking throughout the jungle and throughout the map with those, because I think there is a decent chance that Zuki will not be hanging around in this top lane. I think he will try to push the wave, look for a kill if it's there, but I'm then expecting him to go hunting. This Camille is fantastic at finding you and pinning you down in place. If you pair that with the Graves, or you pair that with the Corki in the mid lane against Kassadin, you're gonna find yourself a kill, providing you can find your target. So it seems like a bit counterintuitive, but I really want Linkus to be guarding against a lot of that, using the map vision that he can put down to the best of his ability to stop these roams and stop these invades that I really feel like Viperio is opting into.
What would you think of a lane swap for Zuki to be mid lane and Corki towards the top side? Just to make sure that the Kassadin has as bad a laning phase as he possibly can, because he has that mana shield from his Q.
He definitely does.
And he's a melee champ too.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I definitely don't think it's a bad idea, but I think you then leave yourself to potentially be exploited on the top side if Nidalee and Aatrox do come calling onto the Corki and he doesn't have the Valkyrie. Personally, I think both of the champions in mid lane, Kassadin and Corki, obviously they scale incredibly well.
Yeah.
I don't think the Corki is going to have too much problem into the Kassadin. And if you are looking to get your advantages elsewhere at the early stages of the game, once you hit level 6, you want to be going bot. I personally don't think it's a massive issue, but it is an option that the teams could look towards, and definitely something that would make Resolve consider their options a little bit more.
And the set for the bottom side.
Yes.
He is running Omnistone.
Yep.
So it is that kind of solo queue warrior, I guess you could call it. That some people are seeing in their solo queue games. But if it doesn't get going, if it doesn't get that snowball, then it just isn't very good, really. You
can start to run into problems because there is a lot of ability for Resolve to kite back away from this set. Karma can give the group speed up, Casting can obviously just Rift Walk away, Nearly can pound, Sartorius has the dash as well on Aatrox, so in theory, this set shouldn't be able to get onto people if they don't find those good Fates calls. The issue with that is when you're trapped in lane, Aphelios is an immobile champion, he doesn't have any dashes. Yeah. As soon as you do hit that level 6, if you don't have your flash available, you're having a bad time.
Especially when set support runs Hex Flash, so he just Hex Flashes at you from a bush, brings you back with the Face Breaker, and then just punches you to death. I mean, you have your Karma there for the extra support for the shield, and shield, if Mantra empowered with the ultimate, can give you that movement speed boost, but if you're not expecting Penta just to be in your face just with that Hex Flash, then you're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, and you throw a Fate's Call out, the set knocks you up, he immediately showstoppers you into the lane further up, and even if you flash, you're where you started, and you have at least half of your health already gone. So it is one of these classic kill lanes once you hit 6. The Ignite and the Exhaust are only going to make that worse for Resolve to try and deal with. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. It's going to be a difficult one to navigate for sure. Dragdar and Regley are going to have their work cut out.
Yeah, he flashes forward, brings him back with the Face Breaker, goes forward with the hook shot. Dragdar has to flash away. Towers do so much damage in this early stage. Kalista has to back away. I did pause at 10 seconds, yes. I'm at 110.
Same.
Okay, maybe I messed up.
We might be slightly out of sync. I won't say whose fault it is, but it's not mine.
Right, I'll pause.
There we go. There we go. Alright, well, we are into game. There was a bit of a level 1 scrap. A 5-man invade from the side of Viperio. Caught out Dragdar, forced him to use the flash heal, but they didn't manage to get the kill. Still, a massive investment of Summers to try and stay safe. And it will certainly causing problems. We said already how much that is going to be a problem down in this bot lane. Missing those summoners already, you're just increasing, but you're just playing League on hard mode.
Yeah, definitely are. And I would say at least they got the flash out of Penta, but he has that Hex Flash ready and waiting.
Yeah, it's not really that much of an issue for the set. He's just going to stand there menacingly until level 6 or until you step too far ahead and get Hex Flashed on. So really not too much of a concern for him at all. In these early stages, we're going to see Graves is starting off on the bottom side of the map as expected. He's just going to be trying to do as much of a clear as possible. Nidalee, multiple camps at once, of course. And yeah, we're going to see where these junglers choose to make their first impact felt and whether they can actually do something impactful to start an early snowball.
And Kaz hasn't soul bonded with Penta just yet. He still has that Black Spear in his inventory, which we actually see a lot of players do early on.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well keep your options open because another. We're talking so much about the set. Another thing you could do in theory is bond to the Camille. That's
True.
really horrible because, you know, you get the Fate's Call thrown at you, you get knocked up, and then you're immediately locked in the Hextech Ultimatum, and you can't move. That's a death sentence if ever I heard one. But up on the top side, it does look like Artorias is getting his way just to start with, building up a bit of a CS advantage, but Graves is clearing quicker throughout the jungle, so overall, advantages are going different ways to different members.
Throws that Mantra Power Q there, just to get a little bit extra damage down onto Kaz. It is Exhaust and Ignite for the bottom lane of Viperio, whereas with Resolve, it's Exhaust and Heal. So a little bit more sustain in lane from that side. But Graves towards the top side, so is the Nidalee. Nothing too much happening in this early stage.
Suki has to use the hook shot to get out. This is a big wave under the tower. Graves is nearby, just backed off there. Hex Flash coming in.
Yep, we'll pull him back, both back with the Face Breaker. Combo comes through with the W as well. Karma will miss the Q there. But this is what we were talking about. You're just waiting in the bush. Dragdar can't approach the wave because he knows that if he does, he'll just be engaged upon by Penta. And it's not really showing in the CS difference at this point, especially if he can pick up all of this farm. But it's something that he needs to be aware of.
And look at how careful he's having to be. Zuki dodges out of the knockup, gets the stun himself, and in the mid lane, just trading back and forth. Like we said, neither of these mid lanes are going to have a massive issue here. In terms of matchups, this is one of the nicer ones that casting can have, but none of Graves turns up.
Gets the flash out of Pillar. Nidalee wanted to come for the rotation as well for the gank, but didn't manage to get it to fruition before Graves managed to get his off. So we'll just go towards this top side. Perhaps go onto Zuki here.
Does look like he's pathing up that way. Down in the bot line, we're seeing... Ooh, this lane in top is frozen nicely. Zuki's
Here's the
committing.
hook shot. Flash is available though. Ultimate isn't available for either side just yet. We'll just play Gatekeeper for this tower. In comes the teleport now. We'll manage to get him away. I think they could have engaged there, gotten the kill, and then gotten away. Didn't want to really try it out and be punished.
And you know, there's nothing wrong with safe play. They didn't really burn anything too much to make that happen, and they got the teleport from Sykes' in response. So, you know, overall, that is going to be a nice trade for them. It does allow Camille to back, and it looks like what you said, Dark Silver, lane swap might be coming in here. You can see that both the Corki and the Camille are heading mid lane. We might see a collapse here, as Castor and Nidalee are pushing quite aggressively.
Has the hook shot available if he wants to go for it. Linkus goes forward with the pounce. Pillar has no mana to speak of. Zuki goes onto him. Doesn't have the Hextech Ultimatum, so will manage to get away. A couple of rockets into the back for good measures. Dragdar is forced away from the wave. Graves in this bottom side now as well.
Oh no!
But Linkus, he's into the bush. Look at the damage already. Pop plant is available. Will manage to get over the wall to safety.
6 minutes in, nobody has gone down just yet, but I want to praise the coordination from Viperio. The top and mid lane are working together to first save Zuki's life on that top side, and then put pressure in this mid lane as well when it looked like Resolve were trying to collapse. But this is it. Johnny Rico's here.
Lashed forward, we'll get the face breaker, pull him back. Exhaust goes down, but the first blood goes over to the Phelios. Dragdar will manage to get away as Johnny Rico. He is on the wrong side of the lane. He'll get cut down. Linkus picks up the kill, and it looked so good for Viperio, but they turned it back around.
They didn't quite manage to burst anyone down fast enough. Karma managed to do the CC and peeling that she needed to do. Dragdar was allowed to do the damage. 3 members strong, but now going to move on to the Drake because Corki has backed already. Callista is nowhere to be seen. The Ocean Drake is going to go their way, and that's a nice little tool to help keep them topped off with some extra mana, some extra health in these lanes. They need to do it a bit quicker though, so they could now be in trouble.
Yep. Will manage to get his way away. Just actually he flashes forward. He should be dead to rights here. Will just be rended.
Gonna come out and say it. That was poor play by Resolve and nothing else. There was absolutely no reason why Dragdar and Raikli couldn't have just helped take that dragon quicker and then backed off altogether, rather than kind of sitting there, letting Linkers take all of that damage and then having to use Raikli as a body bait to try and get the jungler away. Kaz will pick up a kill on the back end of that, which puts this Kalista and the Aphelios back on even footing again.
Yeah, only about 50 gold between them now, and as you said, it was just a misplay there from Resolve. It's not something that we really would have expected of this roster as well. They're coming into the league as one of the favorites, I think, especially Dragdar in that bottom lane, one of our better ADCs, I think a lot of people have been saying. So it's a little bit of a question mark there for everyone so far, but this is just their first game of the split, so there will be some of those growing pains as well, as this roster has been put together quite recently, like every other.
Yeah, that is certainly true. But that's the thing with leagues like the UKEL. There's a lot of names we recognise. There's a lot of teams and orgs that we recognise, but we don't know how they all function together and how they all actually work as a cohesive whole. Zuki caught out here by Linkers, just shadowing his bot lane so they can push up and get as much damage onto this tower as possible. One plate will go their way, a second for good measure. With a wave here, there's no reason why they can't take a third, maybe even a fourth.
Definitely go for another one. They might even get all of them here, because it looks like no one's rotating over. The rest of them, they're just on the Rift Tower. We'll manage to pick that up, but you're giving up so much tower gold.
Yeah, they're just giving this up for free with the second wave now
The entire
arriving.
tower is going down.
Viperio have just sacked off his bottom tower. 5 plates and first tower blood. Gonna go entirely into Dragdar and Raikli's pockets for, alright, yeah, you got the Rift Herald, but at best, the Rift Herald lets you secure a tower of your own. Like, you're not gonna make that money back easily without, you know, committing a lot to it. And you just gave that away for free.
Right, Charlie, before they took those plates, there was 50 gold between Kaz and Dragdar.
Yeah.
There is now 900 gold between them.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
Might get Kaz as well. He'll manage to hop to safety, but Penta's looking to go in. The Graviton will lock him down. Graves off to the side as well. Facebreaker, in comes the teleport, though, as the exhaust goes down. They're looking to turn it back around as Penta has to try and get himself away. World Ender has been popped, but I think they said Corki is on his way, so don't go for this fight.
And Kalista still hasn't used the Black Spear either. I'm starting to wonder whether that might be a spectator bug. I'm not going to rule that out.
I'm not seeing any tether between Set and the Kalista, so...
I'm just confused. You know, they're threatening the 4-man dive. They've hit level 6 like what we... This is the exact play that we all knew was coming. We talked about it in the draft. We went on at length about how dangerous this was, but they haven't used the bond that's really the thing to kick it all off.
And you're losing so much passive AD as well, because if your soul bonded teammate and yourself are attacking the same champion, or the same enemy, it doesn't even have to be the same champion, you do extra percentage damage because of that. So you're losing out on a lot of additional damage that you otherwise just don't have.
Well, we'll have to hope for Viperio's sake that Black Spear disappears from the inventory pretty soon, and it goes for either the Set or the Camille, because right now they need some sort of go button to make this play happen. They've been hovering around. You can see this is the second time Johnny Rico has come down here. He's still got the Rift Herald. They're still fishing for it, but right now they're just not really committing. And you know, with 3 champions here, there's nowhere that anyone from Resolve can respond.
Well, Dander gets popped. In comes literally from the side. Yep, the ultimate just knocks him back. 2 kills, make that 3. It looked good when they got the ultimate, the showstopper from the Set, but he did it into the tower.
No, it looked good a minute and a half ago when they had 4 members there and there was the bot lane of Resolve still sat there like sitting ducks. Why didn't Viperio pull the trigger on that earlier? Why didn't they engage with the tools they had available, pick up a double kill and the tower? Instead, they give away the kills over to the Nidalee, over to the Aatrox. They give away a Drake as well. And what? They've got 5 tower plates across the entire map? Like that's... What are they doing?
Charlie, they've just used the Black Spear. It was not a spectator bug. They just didn't use it.
I am perplexed.
It took them 12 and a half minutes to use the Black Spear. I wish there was some really math-oriented person out there that could, like, crunch the numbers and tell me how much damage they missed out because they didn't have the Black Spear connected to the set.
Yeah.
I mean, you're level 7. You couldn't use your Fate's Call because you have no one to Fate's Call.
And now they're forced to use the Rift Herald on the top side, where the tower isn't really set up correctly, where Resolve have the response available for them. And yes, you know, they get 2 plates immediately off the charge. That's a nice bit of gold for the Camille and the Graves. But remember that they lost the entire tower for free while they were securing that objective. That is no way a good investment on your money. That is not how to make your gold back. And Viperio are raising a lot of questions so far that I think they have yet to provide answers for.
And that 900 gold lead is still there for Dragdar. You're able to put your Cassin in the side lane now and just shove out the wave, just farm it up. He has his Rod of Ages, so he will be starting to get more and more powerful as the minutes tick by. But
yeah,
what can you say? There's a 4,000 gold lead, 1,000 of which they didn't need to have.
I mean, we're giving Viperio some flack right now, and it's by no means like, you know, oh, they've lost the game, you know, oh, they can't come back from this. Like, no, nothing like it at all. They have a Corki, they have a Camille, the Callista. These are all going to do massive amounts of damage. We are just struggling to understand certain decisions that have been made, and it's like we said at the end of last game, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to make errors in the first week, maybe even the first 2, but you've got to have reasons for those, and you've got to be able to learn from them. And right now, it's not like a team has given away the first 2 Drakes and we're like, oh, they're giving away these Drakes because they put extra priority on the Rift Herald, or they had a good opportunity to gank top and make something there. They've just kind of given away the objective for free, and I don't understand why.
I'm just keeping my eye on that bottom lane now, because Cassin was waiting in the bush. I was thinking he might go onto Kaz, who is just sitting there alone. He could have tried to burst him down, but looks like the collapse will be coming through as Graves goes through the jungle by the red buff. Corki is also there. He did use his package earlier on, so he will have just the normal Valkyrie. We'll be able to Rift Walk to safety. We'll manage to pick up this tower, but it gives them a lot of free time on the mid lane tower.
It does indeed, and with Aphelios and Karma there, Zuki's going to try his best, but look at that healing! Absolutely untouched, even through the tower shot. Its defenses are going to get shredded. The Camille can do not a whole lot here, and Corki and Graves are making their way up, but they took a lot of damage, and they've only just managed to take that bottom tower. Rift Herald, in the meantime, was secured for Resolve on the top side. It's Nidalee that's going to hold on to that, able to move it around here. Could look for a tier 2 push on the top side if they're going for it. I think they're probably going to back away instead, knowing that Viperio have just reset, but that mid lane tower is now in the perfect position to just come along and drop Shelly down to do the rest of the work.
Definitely is, and it will give them a lot more map pressure as well with that mid lane tower taken down. And if we look at the tower on the side of Resolve, it's about 2/3 health in the mid lane, whereas you only have about a quarter, maybe a third of the health bar left on the mid lane tower, the middle lane, for the side of Viperio. So it just feels like as if Resolve is dictating the pace of the game and Viperio is dancing to that beat.
Oh, absolutely. That is a fantastic assessment of what's going on, because if you look at all of the elements that Viperio drafted, we said that the Camille would be a side lane terror and she would scale up to absolutely fully around this Aatrox. So I'll hold it.
Yeah, onto Penta as the tether goes down. Mantra Power Q and hit in the face with the spear.
Oh, it's clay pigeon shooting all day long. Nowhere to go, nowhere to move. You are going to go down because, like we said, the teams have no CC. They have practically no disengage, and the set just gets stuck out, hung out to dry. But like Viperio's kind of win conditions, area of focus we talked about. You had the bot lane level 6 all-in death ball to get an early advantage. Didn't happen. You had the Camille, who was going to scale up and be an absolute nightmare in the side lane to really cause some problems, or potentially leave the lane and go hunting with Graves. Well, currently we're 18 minutes into the game. The Camille is 0-0-0 and about 1500 gold behind the Aatrox. She is not going to be bullying anybody. This Aatrox is going around untouched right now.
And he also has 30% cooldown, so he can just do whatever he wants. Johnny Rico has to use his ult as a little bit of a disengage. He does get his phase rush to go off and Corky off to the side, but
and look at mid.
Artorias is just like, yeah, come at me, bro. We have mid lane taken. That's 2 towers taken down with Shelly.
Fantastic play by the side of Resolve there. They use the pressure that they have in the mid lane. They use the Aatrox, who they know is more than strong enough to take these fights. He's going for it.
It has to get the flash out, Johnny Rico. Set is nearby. Oh, 1 more ticket damage. We'll finish him off. But one of the major problems of this team comes from Viperio is it's Graves from behind. It's Set from behind. Support Set from behind.
If I recall correctly, they don't do a lot.
No, they really, really don't.
Yeah, that's the problem there. Because, alright, Viperio managed to get the kill. They managed to take down Artorias on the top side. It took 3 people, it took 2 flashes, and they lost 3 towers. That ain't the kind of trade you can take more than once a game.
Next time you take that sort of trade,
it's
you've
an
lost your next towers.
Yeah. Like, next time you take that trade, you've lost the Baron, you've lost Soul Point, you've lost a base tower and an inhibitor. Like, this Viperio need to be doing damage control now, and they need to be doing it fast, because right now, this game is running away from them. Kalista has the Blade of the Ruin King and is sitting on a nice chunk of gold, yes, but Aphelios already has 2 items. Kassadin is stacking up the Rod of Ages, he's now stacking up Materia the Goddess as well, and like we said, this Aatrox is commanding so much pressure on the side lane wherever he goes that you're having to send multiple members to respond in a situation you should be winning.
And you don't have a full item completion for Zuki just yet, so he's not dealing nearly as much damage as he otherwise would. He doesn't have his Ravenous Hydra, he doesn't have Titanic Hydra, he doesn't have a Trinity Force, whereas you have 1.5 items almost at your death stands for Artorias as well, so almost nothing that Zuki can do, level behind. But what do you say for Viperio at this point? It is Soul Point, it will be a Mountain Soul in 2 minutes. Is there anything that you realistically can do to try and stall out the game, to try and maybe come back into it when you're 5, almost 6,000 gold behind?
So I think the first thing that I want Viperio to do is going to come across as controversial. I don't want them to fight for the Soul Point. I don't think it is worth it. I don't think that the chances of them winning that fight outweigh the problem that the Mountain Soul is going to cause them. Like, it's not the worst soul to give over. Yeah, it's not ideal, but going over there, fighting it, and potentially getting aced, and giving away the Soul Point anyway, which I think is realistically what would happen, is far worse than just accepting that you can't fight this right now and taking a rain check at what else you can do. Use that time to maybe pressure the Baron, or at least set up vision around it. Use it to try and take this top tower that is tantalizingly close. Use it to set up some sort of ambush with the Camille and with the set where you can really dunk down on someone.
Artorias in a little bit of trouble, but maybe not. He's just dunking them with his Darkened Blade. He has the support of his team nearby. The redemption coming in from the Karma. But this is what worries me. They get a pick, but they can't finish him off. They push out the side lanes, but if they do push out the side lanes, they're too busy pushing them out to try and even contest any objective. You said give up the objective but they're too busy pushing out the sidelines to try and contest the Baron, even if they're not on it.
Yeah, they're in the unfortunate situation where even to get one kill, they're going to have to invest far more resources than they would like to. They're going to have to probably invest 3 members, 2 ultimates to get something, but they are going to have to do that because they need some gold. This Camille needs gold. This Corki needs some gold. The Callista needs gold to actually be able to do a lot in these fights. And if they don't start picking up some gold, they don't start investing in these items, they are just going to get stat checked across the board like we are seeing time and time again. And this is the kind of play that I am happy to see Viperio seeing. They can see the Mountain Soars up, they know that Resolve are going to be going there, they immediately go over to the Baron, they set up vision around it, and now the pressure is on Resolve to try and take them off the Baron or do something else with this time.
Nidalee's just going to take this mountain solo. The rest of the team has enough pressure, has enough damage just to push them away from the Baron. That is Mountain Soul now for the side of Resolve. Looking for to engage on the cast, gets the flash out of him. In comes Moonlight Vigil. He is pulled back by the Infernal Chains as Penta goes over the wall, but that is not enough. Penta goes golden just by a little bit of space. In comes the Hextech Ultimatum on the side as Aphelios picks off the set. Zuki trying to do the damage, trying to find the kills, but double kill comes through, making it a triple for Artorias. He's looking for the Quadra, looking to finish off for the ace. He finds it. They will get the Baron too.
This really feels like the same situation we saw earlier on around the bot lane tower. The right idea, the right incentive to do it, but too late. They waited far too long to try and take that fight in the mid lane. They knew they had to do something, but instead they hung around. They threatened the Baron to let Resolve know that they were there, and then they kind of said, it's fine, you take that Mountain Soul. You wait for Nidalee to arrive, and then we'll fight on fair footing. Well, you're not on fair footing. You're 10k gold behind. You're 4 Drakes down the hole. You can't afford to be gentlemanly and try and take these fair fights. You have to play dirty. You have to use the numbers advantage, and waiting that long to take the fight around Baron costs them both neutral objectives, a load of kills, and puts them even further behind.
And I have a little bit of a problem with the set's build as well. Yes, it's good for team fights, going Gargoyle Stoneplate, but one of the obnoxious things about this set support with Omnistone is you go with, we'll talk about it in a second, as Zuki's in a little bit of trouble here. In comes the teleport as Redemption comes down. Will not hit onto anyone, but will chase away the side of Viperio, throwing out the rockets, but Artorias cuts another down. That's his 6th kill of the game, chasing for even more. He has the World Ender, pops him with another Darkened Blade. He wants even more. He is bloodthirsty. He is hungry. He wants the win. As a Fate's Call throws him in. The set uses the showstopper, but doesn't do enough. The answer is an emphatic no, as Artorias almost going down, but he heals up with his dash, and that should be the game.
Maybe the game, but maybe just an inhibitor. Resolve decide to take it and back away. And this is the thing, they don't need to force this. They have absolutely no need to try and press this in against the respawn timers, against the fountain of Viperio, because they are by far ahead in every single metric. And remember, it's not like this team is going to fall off, because they still have the Aphelios, they still have the Cassidy.
You're onto the Karma, but that is not the target that you are hunting for. Look at this Callista from a mile away. Dragdar picks him off. The spears forcing Johnny away. An auto attack managed to get through thanks to the sniper rifle as the triple is found by Dragdar. That is definitely the base. That is definitely the game. It was in more than a convincing fashion. Almost deathless. Only 2 kills given over to Viperio. GGWP coming out in the chat from both these teams. It was a stomp and a half. 14,000 gold lead. Resolve find their first win.
And as our final game of the first night of the UKEL wraps up, we have seen some absolute stomps this evening. Whether it's a case of, first game nerves, teams still finding that little bit of synergy, trying out some things new, or whether it is just the matchups that we've been given on the night. Some of our teams have come out swinging, and Others have taken the bear of the punches. Resolve will make a name for themselves. Definitely going to put them as a team to watch on our leaderboard, taking down Viperio, like you say, one of the storied teams within UKEL already. And it's fair to say they just didn't seem to be working on all cylinders tonight.
No, definitely looked a little worse for wear there in that game. But on the other side, Resolve looked polished, looked clean, looked all on the same page.
Yeah.
They were a team that were almost deathless, only 2 deaths on the entire team, 7-1, 4-0, 0-0, 5-0, 0-1. It looked so good for them, and I'm expecting great things from this Resolve roster.
Certainly am. There's no reason at all for this team to be pulling any punches for it going forward. You know, they've come out, they've made a statement, and all the other teams that picked up games tonight, they're going to have to take a look at each other. People are going to start sizing up the competition because this is a relatively short league. It's a round-robin best-of-1, so you don't get an awful lot of time to fix these kinds of mistakes. Coming out like this, making a name for yourself, although it's going to feel good, it's going to paint a target on your back as well. So Resolve take the win in our final game of the night. We've got to do MVP.
We do indeed.
I'm wondering if this one's going to be contentious. I'm going to say Artorias.
No, I'd go Artorias as well. Yeah, he was on fire. Yeah.
Nice. Easy. Nice and quick. Nice and quick. Nice and in sync. The Aatrox just, absolutely dominant in the side lane, dominant in team fights, absorbing masses and masses of pressure. Yeah, just solid play all the way around.
He also was one of the highest damage dealers. He dealt the 3rd most damage in the game. Corki was the most by just under 2,000 damage, but very well played from everyone on the side of Resolve. I can't understate that. It is a difficult one to give an MVP for because no one played poorly whatsoever. Everyone played really well, but I think Artorias was the standout performer on such a good lineup.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. Similar with the first game we cast this evening, you could give it to multiple people. We have to pick one, and you're the man that we saw the most. Artorias, Aatrox, you did good.
Notorious Artorias.
That's we're gonna have to write that down and remember that. That needs to stick. That needs to stick. But that's us for the evening, I believe. That's all 4 games
for this week. Yeah. But I would like to say that it's not all cut and dry. It's not. This is it. This is how teams will be playing throughout the regular season. It's day 1. You can take a loss here and go on to win the entire thing. We have seen it happen before. But they do need to do their VOD reviews. They do need to come back next week with a vengeance and show us what they are made of. But that will be it from us, unfortunately. We'll be back next Thursday, same time, same place. Hope you'll join us. Take it easy. Have a good night. We'll see you later.